All right, so we'll go ahead and get started this evening. As people come in here, I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of how this webinar will work. So if you have any questions as we go through this presentation, you'll be able to ask those questions through our question and answer panel. You should be able to get to that through the little Q&A button that's up in the upper right corner of your video window. So if you click on that, that'll pop open your full screen. You'll be able to type in your questions on the right. There'll be a section towards the end of this presentation where I will address those questions as they come. So like I said, the questions will be answered towards the end, but feel free to go ahead and populate that question and answer section as we go through the presentation. So just so you have an idea of who you're talking with, our presentation team this evening is myself, which I am Seth Hald. I will be your camp director for this summer. And we also have Tyson Coble, who will be our camp ranger for this summer. And unfortunately, our program director, Travis Burback, was not able to join us this evening, but I will hopefully be able to answer any program questions that you have. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started on our camp preview for 2016. The session dates are right there in front of you for the Boy Scout sessions. And there'll also be some time that we'll go over registration and everything else for those sessions. So I first wanted to just start with saying thank you so much for considering Augustine to be your camp destination for this summer. We're very excited for this summer. Our camp staff is enthusiastically awaiting the start of the summer, and we hope that your units are starting to get just as excited for our camping experience this summer. So once again, thank you so much, and especially thank you for taking time out of your evening this evening to talk about what's going on at camp as well as some of our new things for the year. So let's go ahead and talk about what's new in 2016. So what's new for this summer? The first thing that's new that you'll see in your leader's guide is our 85% club. So ultimately, this is a way that we can really recognize those troops that are making a commitment to coming out to Camp Augustine. So if your unit registers 85% of their membership, you'll receive credit for one adult leader registration. So this will also help out our smaller units that struggle to find adult leadership. We're allowing you the opportunity to have free registration for that one adult. A reminder that you do need 2 adults in camp at all times. On top of receiving that credit for one adult registration, your unit will also be added to the 85% club wall in the dining hall. So it'll be a little bit of recognition for your unit as well. The also big new thing for this year is we've changed the name of our first year camper program. So we've decided to change the name to Trail to First Class this summer, mostly to make it a little more accepting to that second year camper that doesn't necessarily have first class quite yet and just needs a little bit of help on those last requirements. Another big change for this year is we will have a syllabus which will be being posted to our website sometime throughout this week. It has been completed. We're still just working out all the kinks with our Trail to First Class director as well as with our program director. So that syllabus will go live very soon here. Ultimately, what that syllabus allows you to do is to register your scouts for the sessions that they need. So let's say you have a second year scout that doesn't have first class yet, but they don't need to sit through the other sessions for scout, tenderfoot, and second class. So you can look at that syllabus and figure out which block that we will be specifically covering first year or first class requirements and sign up that camper just for that block. So that way they don't have to go through all the other requirements, and it allows them to get more merit badges as they go through. Just as a reminder, our Trail to First Class program runs through our morning sessions. So that is block A and block C. And as you're looking through the syllabus, like I said, kind of line up what sessions your scouts need, and as well as you're going through the registration process, which Tyson will show you how to do that in a little bit here, sign up for the specific sessions that they need. Also, something new for this year down at our ranges is our marksmanship program. So this program will follow the NRA Winchester Marksmanship Program. It will be taught by our very own resident, John Forney. And if you want a little bit more information on the requirements that go into that, you can follow the link there, and that'll take you to the NRA site, which will lay out what that program is. Ultimately, this will be a exploratory program for scouts that are looking for a little more shooting experience beyond the rifle and shotgun merit badges. So they'll be able to earn a little bit more recognition for their strides down at the ranges, as well as be afforded some unique shooting experiences that other scouts and other campers will not necessarily get throughout the week. The other new merit badge that we're offering for this year is the journalism merit badge. And the big change that this brings to camp is we will be publishing a weekly newsletter / newspaper, however you want to look at it, that's going to be called our Augustine Tribune. So this will allow scouts in the journalism merit badge to take a little bit of ownership for their week and talk about some of the experiences that they've gone through, as well as other scouts within their units. So this will really allow for a lot more inter-troop mingling, as well as getting a little bit of information about what goes on during the week, and another take-home opportunity for a souvenir for your scouts. Also, something new that we're starting this year is we want to put a added emphasis on our provisional units. So this is mostly for scouts that can't attend camp with your unit. So you have that lone scout that would love to go to camp, but just can't make it during the session that your unit is going to. So there's two options for that scout. Either they can join our provisional unit during our third session of Boy Scouts, which is that last session. And this unit will be staffed specifically by council volunteers. So it'll be completely an amalgamation of whatever lone scouts and scouters that need to come to camp that aren't able to go with their units. They'll have their own troop there, set up with their own troop leadership and adult leaders. Also, the other option is to contact myself through campdirector@campaugustine.org, and we'll organize trying to get your scout connected with another unit. So if they're not able to come to your session or the third session, we still have that added opportunity of trying to connect your scout with another unit. Ultimately, we want to give you and your scouts the most opportunity that we can to get everybody out to camp. All right, so now I will turn the presentation over to Tyson Coble, who will go through how to register online.
Thank you, Seth. If you notice on Seth's presentation, it shows the link. I'm going to pop that back up there to how to register. You go to otc-bsa.org/camping/Boy Scout camp. If you have other kids to register, just poke around the camping page. There's a lot of stuff there, a lot of information. We try to keep everything pretty up to date on that. I am going to change over to me and project my screen. I'm here at the council, the main council website. You can go to either overlandtrailscouncil.org or otc-bsa.org. It goes to the same place. If you get there, click on the Camp Augustine logo, and then it'll come and it'll show all of the camping opportunities. Boy Scout Summer Camp is where that takes you. This is how troops will sign up. We prefer that troops sign up and not have youth sign up individually. We don't want families signing up their kid unless it's a provisional scout and you've talked to Seth about it. Boy Scout Camp Session 1 is the one I'm going to pick on right now. There's a lot of options on this page to accommodate our provisional scout program, so don't let that scare you. It's relatively simple to register both a provisional scout and a unit. You click register online. If you're registering a unit, you want to click on contingent, which is what I'm going to focus on right now. And next, it says you will be registering your unit along with all the participants. So you click next. The unit registration is a $50 deposit. That $50 is applicable to your overall fees. So it's if you want to register your unit first without registering any boys, you can apply. You can have that fee that basically guarantees the campsite that you choose. And then when you go to register boys, it will apply those fees to your overall fees. I am going to pick on Troop 125 because that's my old troop. And I know they're in the system. So you have to put in your troop number, city and state. And then next, contact for information for the person registering the contingent. This is who is going to get emails about summer camp once you've registered. Things specific to your registration, questions. We'll send out our t-shirt link to this person when we get the t-shirts online ready to order. So that is what goes in here, is the person you want to have be the group contact. This is an estimate of your youth. If you're not going to register them right away, this is where you go in, and we're going to have 6 youth, 2 adults, and we are going to stay in Chinook campsite. And you can also, you choose your campsite at this time. If there is somebody in the campsite, I believe it will tell you so. There must not be anybody in Crazy Horse first session. So at this point, you can either save this registration to the shopping cart and be done, come back later, add your participants, which I will show you how to do, or you can add participants right away to the registration, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to add a youth participant. Adult participant is basically the same steps, just you don't have to go through quite as much as the youth, because they don't have activities. I'm going to say pay the full fee. You can pay a minimum of $100 per scout at this time, or any other amount between $100 and the $225 per scout. Click next. I am going to pick a scout in the troop to register. If your troop doesn't have the scout set up, your scout set up in it yet, you can pick not listed and add the scouts, and then that will add them to this list. It's going to ask for participant name and email address. The email address in this case is not required, but if you want to add it for the participant, you may. Any special needs of a scout, if there's any physical needs, any dietary needs, anything along those lines, you want to add those now. Allergy, that way we know when they check in. We'll also see it on their health form when they check in, but this allows us to see it early so that we can pre-plan meals, especially for those. If you want, you don't have to do this you don't have to do this at this moment, but you can add all the activities. We've got all the activities listed, and you can go ahead and register them for merit badges at this time if you would like. I'm going to just put him into animal science. And click next. I can select another activity. And you notice in this one now, it shows if there's any conflicts. So he can't take BSA lifeguard because he's taking animal science. It'll show you the ones with conflicts so that you don't double book a kid into 2 different merit badges in the same session. So I'm going to register him for archery. And then since this one has multiple blocks, you can choose which block. The animal science apparently is just offered for 1 block. So you can choose which block to add. And then when you're done adding their activities, you click on continue with the next registration step. And one thing that we are going to do is we're going to have cots at your camp. If you pre-register for cots and prepay, we will have them already at your campsite when you check in, so you don't have to go to the trading post and get them. That's just something that we feel will make your check-in go a little bit smoother and quicker. So if you want to get a cot for the youth or adult, it will ask you, and you can add that to the registration. It charges a $5 fee during the registration. That way you don't have to worry about it when you get to camp. If we want to enter more participants, we enter more participants. We go through the same steps as we did. I'm going to save it to shopping cart and click next. And then this is the point where you've got everything in here. And you will check out. And I'm going to take it as far along as I can without actually spending money, because I don't want to register a troop that doesn't that isn't going to the first session, because I know they're going to the third. You know, if your billing address has already been stored, you can use that address, and then you can either pay by credit or debit card. or you can pay by electronic check. A lot of troops, if they're doing troop checks, they like to pay by the electronic check. I'm going to select credit or debit card for ease. Then this is where you put in the actual credit card information, credit or debit card information, confirm and complete. When you add boys later is when I believe you apply the fee for the deposit. Or if not, we will make sure that that gets squared up. I am going to back out of this and remove that from my cart because I don't want to actually register. Now moving on, so you've registered your unit, you've just done the unit deposit. How do we register boys? I believe if you did the registration, you can go into your order history and find that order and details and update it from there. Since I don't have a camp order, the other way in is you click on unit information, you search for your unit, and I'm going to pick on Troop 139 because I know that they are registered for camp. It will bring them up. Now, there are 2 people that you can designate. Actually, you can designate as many people as you want to have access to the registrations, which is over here at the right. You click on registrations. They've registered for Boy Scout Camp Session 1. They have not added any participants. So now you can see they had their contingent deposit of $50. That's on their contingent account. That has been paid. So you can add participants by going to the Participants tab, register a new participant. And then it's basically walking through the steps of adding them at the time of registration. Make sure to add any special needs, especially dietary. You can register for their activities. You can add them to your contingent for that. And then when you add them through this way is when it'll add them and basically put that as a amount owed on your account. I'm going to cancel out because I don't really want to add participants to Troop 139 at this time. It'll show as an amount owed on your contingent account, and from either payment history or from make a payment or deposit, you can click on that, make your payment to true up your account to get it to 0. You can deposit funds in advance if you want, or you can also, Amanda at the Scout office is more than willing to take payments in person if you want to write a troop check or charge it to the troop account, and then she will go in and apply the payment to your account online for you if you decide to pay that way. From this, you can also print full participant summaries and print participant activity sheets, which will show the information for each participant. It will show where everybody's supposed to be, what sessions they have signed up for, and all that, so that you have all of that stuff before you come to camp. And if you do not have access to this part of the website, please email me and I can take care of getting you set up. Pretty much for that setup, I think I'm about the only one to email right now. I will be doing some training with our council staff tomorrow on some of this stuff to get them up to speed so they can also add people. But at this point, I am the contact to get people added into the unit accounts. With that, I am done with registration for Boy Scout Camp. I know I went through it pretty quick. You can watch the video on YouTube later if you want to walk back through it. One thing I just want to note that we'll talk about it in future webcasts when we get into the Cub Scout camp is that we used to have Cub Scout camp set up to do contingents. That doesn't work. I learned that. So I switched it back so that you just register participants, youth and leaders, and then from the back end we will do the contingents and assign them so that we can get campsite assignments and all of that done. So change that up to make it easier on the Cubs. on the Cub side, because there's a lot of units, a lot of packs where den leaders will sign up their own den, or parents will go sign up their own sons. So I just wanted to point that out real quick before I turn it back over to Seth. Seth, do you have anything to add? Anything that I missed?
Nope, I think that's everything. Just once again, if you have any questions, this video will be posted to our Facebook page, as well as email ranger@campaugustine.org for any other questions regarding registration.
With that, Seth, do you have anything else?
All right, so we can go ahead and continue through our presentation here. Thank you, Tyson, for going through that little bit of orientation to the website. So something else that we wanted to pull your attention to as far as registration goes is we will once again be offering our discounted price for attending a second session of Boy Scout Camp. So if your scout would like to attend a second session, they can do that for $35 per day with a maximum of $140 for that session. And with that, they also must attend a full price session before they go to a second session. So that being said, the second session is offered during second week of Boy Scout Camp and third week only. So once again, they must attend that full price session first, and it's $35 per day with a maximum of $140 for the week. So that's about $110 cheaper for the week than it would be normally. All
Seth,
right.
Real quick, I want to jump in. On that, with the $35 per day for the second session, if they want to stay overnight, that it doesn't add any cost to that. So they pay, if they want to come the whole week, join in as a provisional scout with another troop, they will pay $140 for that whole week. If they are local, like Grand Island or Hastings, and they just want to work on merit badges during the day, and we drop them off at breakfast and pick them up before supper or after supper, it doesn't really matter to us, as long as we know, as long as you sign them in and out when you drop them off and pick them up. That way that's flexible. If they, you know, for the scout, if they want to go home at night, or if they want to stay all week, another week. I just wanted to point that out, that it's an option both ways. We just need to know beforehand. Seth needs to know beforehand how it's going to work, if they're going to stay overnight or if they're going to go home. That way we can get them assigned to a campsite and all that ahead of time.
Yeah, so if you have any other questions about attending a second session or to help organize that, once again, please email campdirector@campaugustine.org or give me a call. Our contact info for all three of the camp leadership key three will be at the end of this webinar as well on a slide. So if you're looking for that information, you can find it there. All right, so moving forward, the next little section is about some of our programming that we'll have this summer. Just as a little bit of a note here, these are just kind of some things that we pulled from the leader's guide that we wanted to make sure that we emphasize, as well as at the end, isn't 100% set. There might be some things that change in the evenings. Ultimately, the only thing we will be doing is adding to these programs. What we want to offer our scouts is the opportunity at a camp that they won't get to do every piece of program that we have to offer. We'll have more to offer than one scout can complete in 1 week. So that once again builds in, you know, coming to camp the next year, then you'll be able to experience all those programs. So just some notes on our programs. As far as our merit badge offerings, as well as those prerequisites, they're laid out in the leader's guide. If you have any questions about the prerequisites or what's going to be required of your scouts in those classes, you're free and welcome to email or call Travis Burback, our program director, and he would be more than willing to walk you through some of those merit badges. As well, there will be a lot of opportunities for troop time throughout the week. Some of those key points are after our evening programs, pretty much everything wraps up by about 8:30, 9 o'clock every night. as well as Wednesday evening during your troop time. Specifically, your entire Wednesday evening is time for your troop to cook their own meal, as well as do any troop programs that you'd like to do. And also Friday afternoon is a little bit of another downtime in our program schedule. So we highly suggest that you plan out some ideas with your youth leadership, as well as the rest of your leadership team that's going to camp, to figure out some specific troop programs or bonding time, just thinking through how you can best utilize that time. Another great opportunity to utilize that troop time is completing the Web Augustine Award. So this is our honor troop award out at Camp Augustine. And like I said, it's a great use of our troop free time. And the activities that are included in this to qualify for this award include things like a troop service project, participating in a flag ceremony, and volunteering to clean the shower house. And we will this will be part of your check-in packet, as well as we will probably be posting that on the website within the week here as we post some of our other program ideas, just so you have a little bit of an idea of how much time this Web Augustine Award will take. Your unit will also be recognized at the end of camp, so this is really a prestigious award, and we highly suggest every troop that comes to Camp Augustine to at least attempt the Web Augustine Award, because it really enforces the patrol method, as well as some of the programming complements your programming throughout the year in your troop. All right, so that's kind of the youth side of things. So this webinar is mostly focused for our adults to give you an idea of what's going on this summer. So the big kids like to play too, so we'll go through some of our leaders programs for this year. So the first thing we'll be doing for our leaders is the Scoutmaster Merit Badge. So this is a very grueling merit badge for all of our older scouters and to participate in. And some of the activities that are involved in that is to nap on safely for 15 minutes, have coffee with a member of the Key 3, play horseshoes with another Scoutmaster, and chat about how your troop is doing and where you're moving, and the ideas behind the scouting movement. Help with the program area, especially our Trail to First Class area. We could always use a few extra hands to help guide the learning process, and to really get out the best program that we can. And also tell a staff member a joke daily, because we all like some laughs throughout the summer. Another thing that we'll be doing with our leaders is a Dutch oven cook-off. This will be hosted in Scoutcraft on Friday afternoon. So bring your best recipe to compete against other leaders in camp. A little bit of friendly competition here. The only thing that we ask is that you supply all of your own food supplies, as well as cooking utensils. However, if you need some help tracking down something like a Dutch oven or something along those lines that you don't have with you but you'd like to use, please let us know. We will try to do our best to accommodate. But ultimately, the only thing that we will guarantee that we will provide is charcoal. So please try to plan ahead, bring your ingredients. Like I said, if you run into kind of forgetting an ingredient or anything like that, please let us know, and we'll try our best to accommodate you and get you what you need. Also, we'll be offering a sampling of adult leader training in the evenings, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So on Monday, we will offer Climb On Safely in the Visitor Center during our evening program time. On Tuesday, we'll offer Safe Swim Defense and Safety Afloat in the Visitor Center as well. And on Thursday, we'll offer Leave No Trace Awareness down in the nature area. All right, so the last thing that I kind of like to do is to go through some of our policies, just to highlight a few things and make sure that everybody's on the same page throughout this summer. So all these
Seth,
can be found.
can I interrupt really quick before you jump into this, since we are getting down toward the end? Just a reminder that if anyone has any questions, at the right-hand side of your screen, you have a Q&A app where you can type questions out, and we will see them and address them at the end of the presentation. I just want to remind everyone of that, so that if you do have questions, you can get them typed out before we sign off.
Yeah. Thank you, Tyson. Thanks for stopping and going over that. All right, so first things first is our medical policies. So every scout and scouter that comes to camp needs to have a part A, B, and C of the med form. C is the physician's visit, so please make sure that you get your physicals in. And these can be sent to camp starting as early as 3 weeks before your arrival. If you're really looking to speed up your check-in time and get through check-in very painlessly, we really suggest that you send them into camp, like I said, at least 2 weeks before your arrival. That allows us to look through them ahead of time, as well as have any questions that we have for them ready to go beforehand. And also a big note on the med forms is that we also need a copy of insurance for every participant. So please ensure that you add a copy of the insurance card to the med form for every participant on every med form. This really helps us on in the case of an emergency, it really helps us have the information that we need, and overall allows us to have a little bit safer camp for our scouts and scouters.
Believe me, it helps when you have to check a kid into the ER. It really speeds up that check-in and makes it go quick if you have the insurance card. And because a lot of times they'll wait until they get it before they, if it's not anything that's a dire emergency, they'll make you wait until you have all the paperwork done. So having it fully filled out with the insurance card speeds up anything that we do if we have to go to prompt care or the ER or anything like that.
All right, and some of the other policies that we just like to highlight, mostly things that need to be done before camp, so that way you're aware that these things need to happen before camp starts. The bicycle request form, if you have scouts that are planning on bringing their bike with them, the form that's in the leader's guide requires a parent signature, so make sure you get that before camp. It's kind of hard to do that once you're at camp. We do have faxing ability, but it's much easier to get it done beforehand. Also, the planned early departure form. So if you have a scout that needs to leave at any point during the week, that also requires a parent signature, so please fill it out before coming to camp. As well, ensure that the proper adult is listed as the person picking them up. As per youth protection guidelines, we are not allowed to release a scout to somebody that isn't authorized by the express consent of the parent. So if that person is not the actual person picking them up that's on the form, we will have to wait and call the parents to get their consent before we are allowed to release that scout. So please really stress this with your parents, that needs to be filled out properly. And if things are going to come up and somebody else needs to pick them up, please call out to camp ahead of time. That'll help us out on the checkout process. Also, special dietary needs. We talked about that during registration, but if you forget to include that on anybody's registration, please email it to myself at campdirector@campaugustine.org at least 2 weeks prior to your arrival, so we can ensure, especially with food allergies and other food concerns, that our kitchen is supplying safe food for every scout and scouter that's in camp that week. All right, so going into our check-in process. So we're changing this a little bit this year. We've really narrowed our window so that way we can get you through check-in as quickly and as painlessly as possible. So please plan to arrive between 1:30 and 2:30 on Sunday, and one of our staff members will greet you in the parking lot as well as guide you through the rest of the registration process. That staff member will also be your troop guide throughout the week. So they'll be your first go-to if you have any questions or concerns, as well as they'll be checking in with you to see how camp's going, if there's anything they can do to make your stay a little bit better out at Camp Augustine. So if your unit does plan to arrive early or late, please contact me. That way we can ensure that you have accommodations set up for that. So please do that as soon as you can. If you already know you're going to arrive early or late, please let me know sooner rather than later. That allows us to really get those accommodations set up beforehand. All right, so the last bit here, we're kind of throwing a lot of information at you. We'd also really suggest as a best practice that each unit host a parents promotion night. So this really helps get your parents on board, and as well as gives them an idea of what their scouts and what their sons are going to be going through throughout the week, and give them a little bit more peace of mind of what we do out at Camp Augustine. So to host this parents promotion night, please refer to the parents guide that's on the website for more information, as well as some of the program information. We've gone over some of the highlights, but there's a lot more to it than what I've talked about this evening. This is also a great time to address any questions or concerns that parents may have. So really allowing that open forum for the parents to come in and ask the questions that they have. as well as it allows you to advertise our provisional unit options. So that way every scout within your unit has the opportunity to go to a long-term camp, because we all know how important that long-term camp really is for a scout's development, and we don't want to allow any scout to miss out on that opportunity. All right, and the last little bit that I have for you before we turn it over to questions is our camp staff. So there are still a few openings left open that I'd like to advertise out to all of you leaders. So we have our CIT program, which is mostly for 14 and 15-year-old scouts that are looking to become camp staff in the future. So CIT stands for Counselor in Training. And really, they'll be working on just kind of understanding how camp works, as well as learning how to teach and other mentorship opportunities. So this is especially a good program for scouts that are really starting to emerge as leaders. So taking on the patrol leader position, maybe moving into the assistant patrol leader type position, that just need a little bit more honing of their leadership skills, which ultimately that's one of the best things that you get out at camp as a camp staffer, is leadership ability and being able to really talk in front of people. So this program is very self-determined. Either you can be out at camp for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the entire summer. That's completely up to the CIT's discretion. So as well as there's a few paid positions still open for scouts between the ages of 15 up all the way up to 20 and 21. So if you'd like to suggest any scouts or scouters for staff, please email me, so that way we can identify some of the scouts that are within your units or other scouters in your units that could really use this opportunity to develop in the scouting movement. All right, so with that, I will look over at our question panel and see if there are any questions that have been asked. All right. So we will wait just a minute or two here. If you have any questions, feel free to put them up there. Thanks, Jeff, for your question. And Tyson is at the visitor center right now.
Yeah. And I did click, I selected that to currently answer it, Seth, for the next one. You see, but anyway, if any of the Key 3 is not at the visitor center, Jeff Hinkle will be at the visitor center, happily greeting you. And he will be able to get a hold of any of the member of the Key 3 at any time. With that, I don't see any other questions. So,
yeah, and if any questions come up as you're watching this video, or further down the line, if you watched our webinar and you still have questions, feel free to forward those on to either myself, Travis, or Tyson, depending on what the question entails. And there's our contact info, so it gives you phone numbers, emails for everyone, especially our Facebook page. So a lot of our information gets forwarded out through Facebook. So if you want to keep up with what's going on out at Camp Augustine, please like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Camp Augustine.
We are also at Camp Augustine on Twitter, if you want to follow us on Twitter as well.
Exactly. So with that, we'll go ahead and end this video. And like I said, if you have any further questions, feel free to send those on to us. Thank you very much for your time. And we hope that registering your unit goes painlessly. If you have any questions, once again, please reach out. And we look forward to seeing you this summer.